The Florida Gators can pull off the upset against the Texas Longhorns. Here's how they do it.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. Happy Friday. I'm Brandon Olsen. Find all my written work about the Florida Gators at swampsignal.substack.com. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved. And I know that right now there's a bunch of Florida Gators fans who are like, you know what? I want to lose this game since it's more likely to get Billy Napier fired. I can't do that. I'm sorry. Like if you do that, you do that. But I'll tell you what, I wanted them to beat USF. I wanted them to beat LSU. I wanted them to beat Miami. They lost games whether or not I wanted them to win. I'm going to want them to win every single game. So I'm not doing that. I'm still talking about how they can win football games because that's the name of the game, right? It's going out there. It's winning. I'm going to talk about doing that. And the way to do it, one of the most important things is that Florida must run the football effectively, which I think for a lot of people that have seen the injury report that's come out, which, by the way, shortest injury report Florida's had in a long time, have seen that, hey, Jacoby Jackson's out, right? Which is unfortunate. We don't really know what it is that is holding him out. Against Miami, he played, I want to say, his best game of the season. He had a really bad game against LSU. USF wasn't great. And Long Island, I mean, I don't even care about Long Island, right? But Jacoby played his best game of the season against Miami and is now out. No idea how long that's going to be. I'm assuming we won't even get an answer on that until Monday, but he was ruled out immediately, so we know that. Important to note, by the way, that on that injury report, George Gums is back, Mekhi Boyero is back. So you're getting healthy, it's just Jacoby Jackson's out. When I say run the football effectively, I don't mean, you have to average 4.5 yards per carry, or you have to average 5 yards per carry, or any arbitrary number, right? Because that number is arbitrary. You can average 30 yards a carry. If you run the ball 3 times, it doesn't matter. So that's why the number doesn't matter, okay? What I mean by run the football effectively is use the run game to keep yourself in manageable situations. Live in the areas that give you a fighting chance. We know this passing attack has been abysmal to this point because it has been. But the running game could put you in better position. Without Jacoby Jackson, you'll still have Jaden Ball, and hopefully Jaden Ball will get, 18 plus carries, 22 plus touches. I don't know if the plan is, hey, we're going to have Jaden Ball and Duke Clark and then KD Daniels. Because you could go from running back 1 and running back 2 to running back 1, running back 3, and running back 4 to supplement for not having running back 2. You could just say, hey, it's next man up. Duke Clark, you're running back 2 now. Duke Clark, to this point in the season, has 6 carries for 20 yards, 5 for 19 against LIU, 1 for 1 against LSU. Had a drop against Long Island, I believe, as well. Not that that's indicative of anything. Someone dropped a pass. Who cares? One drop pass I'm not going to harp on from a month ago, especially when it was largely irrelevant. So, yeah. But I don't know if it'll be Jaden Ball, Duke Clark, and KD Daniels, or Jaden Ball and Duke Clark. I really don't. I will say that I also expect a couple of Trey Wilson carries in this game. I think it's very clear that this Florida Gators offense, and as critical as I've been of them, as critical as everyone has been of them, this Florida Gators offense has been trying to find ways to get the ball in the hands of guys like Trey Wilson, right, against Miami. He had 2 reverses. One of them was 1 block away from being a legitimate big gain. Against Miami, I think it was Trey Wilson that they lined up in the backfield, let him run a wheel, and they threw to him, but there's a penalty that stopped the play dead before it even really got going, but would have been a pretty big gain. That got called back. Like, they're trying to get Trey Wilson involved. It's very clear. I would imagine that we're going to see him get some carries in this game. Wouldn't shock me at all. I also think that you're facing a Texas defense that has maybe the best run defense in the country. And I keep saying, maybe this, maybe that, because, and the thing I've been saying, Texas has played 1 Power 4 opponent. It's tough for me to say, hey, we know what Texas is, because Texas has played 1 Power 4 opponent. It was the reigning national champion, but it was also in week 1. I feel like a lot of Florida Gators fans can acknowledge, hey, whatever happens in week 1, you can kind of just throw out the window once you get deeper into the season, because it doesn't matter. Things change. Okay? We haven't seen them play another Power 4 team. I don't know what they're going to be. The only measuring stick we have for Texas is bad teams and arguably the best team. It's really tough to truly be able to say anything about that definitively. But we do know that statistically and analytically, they've got maybe the best run defense in the country, or one of the best run defenses in the country right now. You need to find ways to run effectively. I don't care what it is. If it's Trey Wilson, if it's just feeding Jaden Ball, if it's running, it has spamming duo out there. I don't care what it is. You got to figure out how to run the ball effectively. And I will also say this: DJ Lagway needs to use his legs. Even if it's a passing play, if the opportunity is there to run, DJ Lagway needs to do it. Like, there's no, like, if he's not healthy enough to play winning football, he shouldn't be playing. That's where I stand on the whole, like, oh, he's not healthy. Okay, well, if he's not healthy enough to play winning football, he shouldn't be playing football. That's it. Like, I don't care if he's banged up or anything. And I know it's easier for me to say, not being a doctor, not being a coach, not being the player. But my stance remains, if he can't go out there and play football the way that it needs to be played, then don't. I don't think that's the case. I do think that he'll go out there and play. I do think that he'll go out there and run if he needs to. But I just don't want to hear, oh, it's because he's not healthy as the excuse. He wasn't healthy against Miami. He was out there running a few times. Like, I don't need him to run the ball 30 times, but he needs to be a threat. That's it. He needs to be a threat. Have a QB keeper once or twice, make them respect that off the edge, give you a numbers advantage when you're running, when you're actually handing the ball off to the running back. Take off running when you've got a drop back, when you got a passing play call, I guess we'll just say. Take off running, pick up some chunk yardage on the ground. You've got to find ways to run the ball effectively. That's it. Like, if you can't do that and your passing attack is not going to be able to get going, then you're going to be destroyed. Because if you can't run the football effectively, all you're going to be doing is being stuck in, I don't know what, Billy said 3rd and 7, right? Billy said 3rd and 7 is their number where they really hate being in that spot. If you're stuck in a 3rd and 7 consistently because you can't run the football, you're going to lose this game. Simple as that. Texas is going to destroy you in that opportunity. You need to run the football effectively and keep it manageable on offense. That's why it's like, yeah, the obvious thing, I'll be able to throw the ball. Sure, that'd be a great piece of information there. You need to be able to run the ball effectively to give you even a chance on offense, because you're not going to come out there slinging it all over the yard all of a sudden. And if you do that, great, you're back on track. But I'm not going to believe you can do that until I see you go do it. Florida has Jaden Ball has been a monster this year. Duke Clark, we'll see what he is. Trey Wilson, we'll see what he's going to do. DJ Lagway, we'll see how healthy he is. But you've got to figure out ways to run the football effectively. Give it to Vernell Brown III. I don't care who gets the football as long as it's working. Figure out ways to run the football effectively. Figure out ways to give yourself a chance to win this game. And also, explosive plays are an important part, right? We'll talk about that when we get back with Locked On Gators. This episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by Mazda's Moving the Game Forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. And there are moments that do more than put points on the board, right? There are moments that move crowds. There are moments that move culture. And there are moments that keep moving the game forward. And we see them all the time. I've mentioned, Cormani McClain. Like I go back to last year with the pick six against Kentucky, watching the whole roster just run over to him, watching the crowd erupt in a blowout already. It was a meaningless pick in terms of winning the football game, but it felt like such a meaningful pick and play. And I will love that forever. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. And it's almost the weekend, right? Time to look back and crown this week's MVP. In fact, I'm not even looking back. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to crown this week's MVP. Right? I'm taking my shot here. Powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. I'm putting Jaden Ball as the guy that's going to be this week's MVP. The guy who's going to deliver when it matters most. Because this week, he's not going to have his running mate, his running back two in Jacoby Jackson, who again has been having a slow start to the year, but played his best ball against Miami. He's not going to have that running back two there. He's going to have running back three stepping into the running back two role. Who knows what that's going to be? Jaden Ball stepping up, vitally important, more than he already has, which feels unfair, but it's what's needed, right? Just like Jaden Ball has delivered every Saturday, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. And I mentioned explosive plays matter, right? And Florida hasn't seen a lot of them. Here's the thing. Neither has Texas. Like Texas, sure, they have more passing plays of 20-plus yards. They have more rushing plays of 10-plus yards. Sure. When you talk about the other kind of explosive plays, which are less arbitrary, the analytic explosive plays are when a rush adds a certain amount of expected points added, EPA, then it's explosive. When a passing play adds that, then it's explosive. Those numbers, very similar. Why? Because when games matter and when those moments matter, they're very similar. Neither of these offenses are particularly explosive. That's been my selling point this whole week for why Florida genuinely can beat Texas. I'm not saying, because I'm a Florida fan, I think they can win. I'm not doing that. I've said before that I think Texas wins this game, but I think it's much closer than people are talking about, or at least foresight-wise, it should be talked about in a much closer way than it's been talked about to this point. Because people, I feel like, keep talking about, Texas is going to destroy them because of this. On the field, there is not a shred of evidence to even begin to imply that. Florida beat a trash team 55-0 too. I don't care that Texas did it to Sam Houston State. Both of these teams combined 0-3 against Power 4 competition. I don't care. This is ridiculous. One of the main reasons, and the main reason I've said that this team, this Florida Gators team, can beat the Texas Longhorns is because this game is going to be a battle of two offenses who have struggled to get things going. Right? Undeniable. And if you do deny it, you're lying to yourself and me, and I refuse to accept that. Two offenses that have struggled to get going, especially struggled to get going consistently. Two defenses that have played lights out. Like Florida allowed 26 points against Miami. That should have been way lower because your offense let you down consistently. I've said before, like my big fear with this team is just that the offense is going to continue to let you down and you're going to give up more points because of it. That's it. Like, LSU scored 20 through 5 picks. One of them was a pick 6. They scored 13 with 4 interceptions then. You know how good of a defensive job that is? To be giving the other team extra possessions and to stop them consistently? Miami, again, 26-7. Your offense did nothing except for one drive. Your offense did absolutely nothing. That should have been a much closer game because your defense played their you-know-what's off. Like, I don't get, like, this is, again, 2 offenses that have not done much versus 2 great defenses this year. 1 or 2 big plays could change the entire outcome of this game. That's what's happened so frequently. Like for Florida, don't have a whatever you want to talk about, the play where Dijon Johnson and Sharif Denson were looking to the sideline. USF snapped the ball, big play, touchdown there. You don't have that one big play, you win that football game. Honestly, it's as simple as that. Against LSU, you don't throw that pick 6, who knows what would have happened after that. But I'll tell you what, LSU would have had 13 points and it would have been 13-10 game. Would have been a lot closer for the entirety of the game. Not saying that you would have won, not saying that closer loss matters, but I am saying that there's big explosive plays that change the tide of the game. Right? We all remember LaMichael Pirine versus Auburn. Like, we've seen these big moments where it's just one explosive play. And these are 2 offenses that have struggled to get legitimate explosive plays, to create legitimate explosive plays. You win the explosive play battle, you've got a pretty good shot of winning this game. I even talked about it, I think it was earlier this week or later last week, where I was talking about the 5 factors of winning college football games. And one of them was explosive play battle. In fact, the number 1 was explosive play battle, where it's if you win the explosive play battle, you win the game. I think it was 86% of the time. That's it. Like, that's what we're talking about here. You win the explosive play battle, you win the game 86% of the time. Texas, yes, they have more explosive plays. However, those explosive plays for Texas have come against, again, Ohio State. Sure, you had a few. I think it was 3 against Ohio State. Nothing spectacular. Came against San Jose State, who has allowed, I think it was 38, 28, and 30 in the past few weeks. Texas being the 38. Congratulations, I guess, on being the team to hit 38 against them. He did it against UTEP, which probably the worst UTEP team we've seen in a while, which does suck. I generally like UTEP, but not a good UTEP team this year, right? They're, I think, 1-4. Not a good UTEP team this year. And also, by the way, ULM and Louisiana Tech both scored more against UTEP than Texas did. Like, this weird, like, oh yeah, they're so good offensively. They're not. They haven't been this year. Again, congratulations, you beat Sam Houston State 55-0, or Sam Houston 55-0, but who cares? Everyone scored at least 37 against them this year. You did your damage against teams that are irrelevant. Congratulations, you did what you're supposed to do. Florida faced LSU, Miami. Like, Florida was at least facing good competition. And look, the offense has looked really bad. I'm just saying that I don't think this Texas offense has been anything impressive. This is win the explosive play battle, and you're putting yourself in a very good spot to win this game. Again, Texas beat San Jose State, UTEP, and Sam Houston State in addition to the game against Ohio State. Florida faced Long Island as their cupcake, faced 2 teams that were in the top 5 at the time that Florida played them, and a USF team that's still 26th in receiving votes. I I can't think of this Texas offense and think that they've proven a damn thing to me because, well, they haven't. They haven't. This Florida Gators team has been incredibly frustrating is the word I'll use to watch. We'll talk about how they can maybe bring that down a bit when we get back with Locked On Gators. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Thread Plus powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. Beautiful. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance, which I think the staying motivated thing is the most difficult thing about staying in shape. It's a pain. I'm going to be honest. Like you get one day where you go, yeah, I'm not really feeling it today. Woke up not feeling it. You take that day off, and then the next day you're like, no, I'm not really feeling it again today. And then you get into a really bad habit, and I hate it. It's the worst. We've all been there. We've all done that. Let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever it's in the podcast and on YouTube. And this Florida Gators team has been incredibly frustrating to watch. I don't think anybody's been surprised by that. I think even if you're not a Florida Gators fan, it's been frustrating to watch this team because they've been just playing bad football, sloppy football. If you're going to beat Texas, you have to play clean football. We had Hayden Hansen on the show on Wednesday, like he is on the show every Wednesday. And Hayden mentioned on Wednesday, needing to play clean football. And he also acknowledged nobody plays mistake-free football. That doesn't exist. Even if there's, no penalties, no turnovers, they're not playing mistake-free football. That's just life. Like no one's going to play a perfect football game. It doesn't exist. You can complete every single pass. You can average 10 yards per carry. You can have no penalties, no turnovers. Guess what? You still didn't play perfect football. There were things you still didn't play mistake-free football. There were things that were wrong, whether it's a missed assignment that got covered, tipped ball that still got caught, whatever it might be. Mistake-free football needs to be the goal. And like Hayden mentioned, no one's going to play mistake-free football, but you've got to do a better job of limiting them. Okay? Florida has, over the past 3 games, and I'm saying over the past 3 games because if you look at the course of the season, Florida's averaging I think it's 4 penalties for 45 yards per game or something like that. Over the past 3 games, Florida's averaging 7 penalties for 60 yards per game. That matters. You had no penalties against Long Island, but you've played FBS teams and penalties have popped up. Brutal times too, right? And look, some have been BS. I agree with you. However, I can't sit here in good faith and good conscience go, yeah, the BS calls is why this team's losing games. When I sit here and watch the offense, I can't go, yeah, it's those refs. No. Even the ones that did actually impact the game. Hayden got an offensive pass interference call, which I thought was a BS call. I don't think it was an actual flaggable play, but it happened. It was on a touchdown. Yeah, sure. Florida, if they had that touchdown, they win the game against USF, right? Refs screwed them. I'm not going to say the refs screwed you out of beating a group of 5 team. No. Even if the refs had an impact on that, sure. I live by the rule of play well enough where the officials don't matter. It's the same thing I talk about with, and I know that this is different. This isn't the officials, but the same thing I talk about where it's a one play changed everything, or one penalty changed everything, one stupid penalty, the Marco Wilson shoe throw. People are just oh yeah, Florida wins that game if Marco Wilson doesn't throw a shoe. And it's Florida should have won that game regardless. Florida was a significantly better team that year over LSU. LSU shouldn't have been in that game. So yeah, that play gave them the extended drive and screwed you. Yes, it did. But I don't think that one play is what lost you the game. I think the entire, 58 minutes leading up to that, however, I forget the time of the game that it happened, but those entire time before that game, that led to that. The shoe throw is maybe the most costly play, or the shoe throw was the most costly play. But a lot of that game shouldn't have gone the way that it did. The Hayden offensive pass interference, in hindsight, sure, cost you a touchdown, and that was more than the difference. Sure, might have screwed you a bit. The rest of that game, though, shouldn't have happened the way that it happened. Florida needs to play mistake-free football, penalty-free football. By the way, Texas is averaging 8.5 penalties for 78.3 yards per game this season. Texas is playing more undisciplined football than Florida. Texas has played most of their games at home. Texas has had one road game this year, and it was Ohio State. That's it. The fact that they're playing sloppy football and they've been home means a lot. On offense, Texas had 4 penalties against Ohio State, which is important because it's at Ohio State. I do think that's very relevant. 3 on defense. Okay, like they've been playing, and I wanted to bring that up to say, it's not like the one road game really inflated those numbers. They've been pretty consistently getting penalized at home. Let them go on the road. Let them make their mistakes. Play mistake-free football. Make fewer mistakes than them. Florida has a turnover margin of -2. Which honestly, considering you had 5 interceptions in one game, because the only turnovers that Florida's had so far is 6 interceptions. 5 against LSU. Okay. Turnover margin -2. Texas has a turnover margin of +3. You can't turn the ball over. You can't let them win the turnover battle. You can't play down to their level of mistakes with penalties. Texas plays sloppy football. Texas doesn't play clean football. Texas isn't playing the flashy football that they played last year. Texas is playing ugly, hard-nosed football. They're doing it defensively at a really high level. Offensively, not so much. Again, I will continue to say this, and even if I'm wrong, I will know that the process was right. These are 2 offenses that have really struggled to get anything going effectively consistently. These are 2 really good defenses. This is an SEC game in conference. This is a road game for Texas. This is a Florida coach that has won games we all agreed he shouldn't have won before. Right? Weirder things have happened in college football than to say Florida can't win this game. I'll tell you this, I'm betting on Florida to win this game. I think Texas wins, but to me, the logic tells me that this is a way more even game. I saw I think it was Parker Fleming, Stats War on Twitter, put out the win probabilities, and it was like Texas 75%. Hell no. Hell no. 75% chance of winning? Hell no. I don't care what analytics you're into. Those numbers are wrong. Source, I've watched the games. 75% chance? No, I'm not giving Florida a 25% chance. I'm giving Florida a 40% chance. Still think Texas wins, but you're out of your mind if I'm not putting money on Florida to be able to pull this one off. Ludicrous suggestion. Not doing it. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day, every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. We will be back tomorrow immediately after the game to talk about the game, talk about what may happen with coaching futures after that game. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my Florida Gators written work with swampsignal.substack.com, and I'll see you all next time.